What's going on, Buffs on podcast fans? I'm here today with you with Gabe and Con. We're back with another episode, coming in with our first full off-season preview. We're going to be tackling subjects like our new coach, our preferred draft pick, our team options, our free agent signings, our dream starting five, and Gabe's got a special segment of his own. So stay tuned to the end to hear Gabe's special segment. But how are you guys doing today? We're nearing the end of the first round. Some first rounds have already closed out. Basketball season is in full effect as we head into the summer. How are you feeling about the playoffs? How are you feeling about the upcoming off season for us?
It's finals week, and I've been watching way too much basketball. You know, got things to do, but I guess can't not tune in to fucking Nuggets Wolves.
Must watch basketball.
I mean,
Gabe,
I see
how
a
you
lot of
doing?
I
Ready
see a
to
lot
ready to
of
drop a pod?
Yeah. Same here. It's nice falling in love with watching basketball again after being subject to the the past 82 games of Pistons.
dude. Good
Uh
basketball is insane.
it's so fun to watch.
Like high level shot making, when people take difficult shots and then make difficult shots, is just like when you watch the Pistons all the time, and it's got to be like the perfect shot for it to go in. It's crazy to watch people hit nonsense shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be discussing all things Pistons in today's pod and starting off with one of the biggest subjects, one that's going to be talked about almost the whole offseason until a decision is going to be made, and that is the current head coaching vacancy. And like we said, we're going to go through and discuss our dream, our perfect plan if we were the GM for the day. So let's start with Gabe. Upcoming season, big decision about who's going to coach this team. What is your ideal world? Who's coaching in it?
Well, we heard the three finalists were not there can still be more names added, but they're the first three to get a second interview, and that's Charles Lee, uh Collins, and
Kevin
what's
Ollie.
the G League
Kevin
guy?
Ollie.
Kevin
Yeah, Kevin
Ollie.
Ollie.
Overtime
Of
elite,
those,
not the
yeah,
G.
overtime elite. Honestly, of those three, he's the only guy I don't really want. No reason really that other than he doesn't have a lot of NBA experience. He was good at college, but college is not the same sport pretty much. And I think it's kind of been written that it's gonna be Charles Lee. He is. I mean, I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about any of these guys, but he fits the bill. And if he gets picked by Weaver, then that's my dream coach, pretty much.
Fair enough. Back in what Weaver is going to do. Connie, who you got for your ideal coach next season?
Yeah, I'm a Charles Lee man as well. Kevin Ollie, I don't like. I mean, I don't like that he coached overtime elite. I think it's kind of a joke of a league. Uh, like to call that a developmental league on the same like level as even like NCAA basketball is kind of silly. Uh, they do some really, I don't know, stuff that is just not conducive to basketball at a higher level there. That being said, that does not mean I want to disrespect Kevin Ollie as a coach or a guy who knows basketball because he was at UConn for so long. And before that, this man was a basketball player, an NBA basketball player for 13 years. He played for one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Oh, some repeats, but double digit NBA teams. This man has been around. This man knows the system. He knows the game. But no, my perfect world is Charles Lee as well, and that really revolves around. It's going to sound a little dumb, but that he's 38 years old. Kevin Ollie is 50. Jaron Collins, I'm not sure, but
44.
34,
44.
44. Jaron Collins, I'm sure. I mean, all of these guys are. Whoa, Jaron Collins was a big man. You don't see a lot of big man NBA coaches. You know, a lot of times
That's a good point you bring up.
and all that. You don't see a lot of 6'11" coaches. You know, I take it back.
I
Perfect.
know
Not
nothing about him either, so
I
I'd
know
be cool with him
zero
as
about him.
well.
Other than he also, yeah, he played for 10 years and he was an assistant for Golden State from 2014 to 2021. That's kind of the sweet spot to be a coach in Golden State. You
Yeah,
got to
no.
take back. I take it back. I'll take Jaron Collins. I want a big man coach, man. I want the handshake coach for our guy to just absolutely dominate the other man in that handshake after the game.
Coming into this, I was kind of splitting hairs between Jason Collins and excuse me, what's the guy's name? Charles Lee. I was stuck between Collins and Lee. I when I saw Kevin Ollie's name in the next round of the interviews, I was a bit surprised, but again, I don't want to disrespect him in his game because, quite frankly, I'm not too knowledgeable about his resume. But Jason Collins really, really did stand out to me. And when I was listening to the Bunning Cardigan podcast, hosted by James Edwards, apparently Jason Collins had a really, really good interview, and Edwards just it constantly felt like he was favoring towards him in the podcast. But 44 years old, so I guess like you said with Charles Lee's 38, he fits that young core if you like. 7 years as an assistant with the Warriors. He was their original defensive coordinator as well, which is obviously in a pretty impressive role there with the way they won championships with such a good defense. And he went to Stanford, so he has the tools, the brain, 10-year NBA vet, has the basketball IQ. And he's currently an assistant with the Pelicans, who, when they've been healthy, were flying incredibly high. This guy checks all the boxes for me, and it's not to say that Charles Lee really doesn't. It was almost just like picking between the two of them. But the resume looked really impressive for Jason Collins, and he is my preferred pick for our head coaching vacancy this offseason. Let's move on to our draft pick then. Obviously, I mean, in an ideal world, I think we all want the number one pick here. But are there any alternates, I don't know, options you see? Should we fall one? Should we not fall one? What are you guys seeing with this upcoming draft? I know it's such a large topic, but just at a broad view, like what are you guys thinking about this upcoming draft pick?
Nah, if we're talking perfect off season, there is no perfect off season without us securing the number one pick and drafting Victor Wembanyama. Uh, but beyond that, I think there are some teams in the later lottery uh, that might be looking to move those picks, and I'll be looking to snap them
Portland,
up. Huh?
Portland.
Portland, maybe Portland, Dallas, uh, OKC has said that they're ready to move picks because they have so many. Toronto might, New Orleans might, because like where do you really getting from those like late lottery picks if you're a team that's trying to, you know, compete? Um, so in my perfect world, what I said is that we secure or the first pick, and then somehow through a trade with I don't know Bogey, Alec Burks, whatever makes the trade happen, and we draft either Anthony Black or Grady Dick. Those are two very different guys. Grady Dick is probably the best shooter in college basketball right now. Long reminds me a lot of Bogdanovich, like right now, in a similar sort of way of getting to buckets, being movement shooters, hitting it at three levels. I hate saying this because it is such a cliche, but he's kind of sneaky athletic. He picked up a couple oops. He's not the worst defender, and then Anthony Black would be such a beautiful connective piece. He's not the same level shooter, but he is like a really dogged defender and an outstanding playmaker, passer, connector. So he's also huge and can kind of play that backup point. So when we need a backup point next year, when it is inevitably in my perfect offseason, Weaver realizes that Killian Hayes sucks and he drops him. So Anthony Black kind of gets to run our second unit a little bit, and he could also play with the other two guards because again he is forward sized. He almost reminds me a little bit. I'm pulling this directly off. You guys follow Hoops Intellect on YouTube?
Yeah, the best basketball
Awesome guy.
draft
For anyone, yeah,
YouTuber.
Hoops Intellect is really the best draft guide guy in the world. He compared him to a Josh Giddey, which I just really liked. Josh Giddey with some defense, which so yeah, my dream with the draft would be to pick up another pick in the late lottery and get ourselves a wing.
I could see that happening. I disagree that Grady Dick's the best shooter. I think that goes to Jordan Hawkins on UConn. This guy is insanely lights out, and if he's still there late lottery, if Taylor Hendricks is still there, and yeah, Grady Dick as well. Those are probably my three guys I'd keep an eye on. Around the 10th pick maybe. But I'd even go to the direction where if like James Edwards mentioned value in that same podcast, if we fall 4, 5, we move that pick. Like to me, this isn't a very top heavy draft. Obviously, there's Scoot and there's Wemby, but after that, I think the next 10 are all like good bets to go in like 3 through whatever,
So
including Brandon Miller.
would you
Huh?
want to trade, like if we had 4 or 5, would you want to trade like down for like 2 picks? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
like
saying?
trade down, trade. I don't know. Yeah, trade it 5 for 11 and 13 or something from OKC, whatever they end up having, or
Yeah.
for an established player who's a good I don't know, a good bench piece, a good spot starter. I just don't really think this draft, like Grady Dick, I think is like you could pick him at 4, right? Like what player stops you from picking him there? And like I think if he's gone, you're gonna have another viable option open at 10 or 11 or whatever. So yeah, with the draft, obviously Wemby, and then after that, I just want to see Weaver do some stuff again. I I hated those days where we had one pick and we knew we're just gonna pick once. There was no action coming, no trades, no anything. Those days are behind us, so I'm just excited for the later draft night now.
Yeah, I always got to stay on your toes with Weaver here now. I went on a pretty similar route with you guys. Obviously, ideal off season. We're picking one. I'm picking Victor Wembanyama. But should we fall? For me, it's out of top three. I would throw Brandon Miller into that top three mix where I'm okay with picking. But should the Pistons land at 4 or 5, I'm very open to moving that pick and attaching I don't know, an Alec Burks, a Bojan Bogdanovic to it to bring in another asset, either that being another player who can help us directly or just more draft picks to keep stacking up. But I'm definitely open to trading that fourth and fifth pick. But obviously, the goal here is drafting Victor Wembanyama at number 1. But the draft is one way to acquire players. Another way is through free agency. The Pistons have multiple team options on their roster. We're going to dive into that a little bit before getting into our overall free agent targets. I'm going to kick us off with our team options because I think some of them are pretty straightforward and perhaps it's a case you can make for a few guys. But the most obvious one for me was actually Isaiah Livers. Easy pickup, very cheap contract, another year, no brainer. We were spoken on that. And in that same boat is Alec Burks, an option for about $9 million. Provides so much, and we've spoken on him throughout the season. As soon as he started sitting out, you could see how how bad our offense is, how hard it is to watch sometimes. Great shooter, great veteran, and I'm excited for him to hopefully be here and be here with a team that's actually competing because he looked genuinely just like really, really good sometimes, like just a well above average NBA player, especially coming off that bench. I know he was towards the top end of the NBA players in points per game. And then the final one, I had to pick between one of Eugene and RJ. This is something we've touched on. And I would give Eugene Omarui that contract. I would extend the team option to Eugene Omarui. So I'm bringing back 3 guys. I'm curious to see if you guys have anything else on the team options and stuff related to that category. Gabe, what do you have for this?
Do we have any other team options aside those 4?
James Wiseman.
So you're not picking up James Wiseman, Valley?
Sorry, thought he was under one more year. I am taking James Wiseman as well. Yeah.
Okay,
You pick everyone.
I'd let Wiseman walk, honestly. We don't need him. And I'd probably pick RJ over Burks. Uh, and yeah, the other 2, it just makes sense. They're cheap. They're 3-and-D wings, kind of. Well, Livers is. Burks, yeah, he's just a good player on a cheap contract and a great trade piece.
Sorry, you would take RJ Hampton over Alec Burks?
No, over Eugene.
Oh, okay,
Right,
okay.
RJ Hampton is not under a team option next year.
Oh,
He just has his contract.
okay. Well, good.
Great.
Connie, do you in a different direction with any of these guys' team?
No, yeah, I'm picking up Burks for sure. There's really no reason not to. $10 million is like honestly a drop in the bucket for the salary cap at this point, and we need to pay people so that we hit the salary floor. Livers is also a no-brainer. I'll pick Eugene up as well. I guess yeah, the one I'm a little that I'm a little bit unsure about would be Wiseman. Now I'm fully confident that Wiseman is going to get picked up because
We
Weaver loves
traded for him.
Wiseman. Yeah, so he's going to get picked up. But I can honestly take it or leave it. But now that I'm looking at the contracts, you guys know we paid Dwayne Dedman until 24, 25.
Yeah, that was under the spree of Weaver signing a bunch of people, waiving him and stretching the contract.
I still didn't get the point of that one, but
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
that's
sure there's a method or a reasoning behind all that
that's why I'm
madness.
not an NBA executive.
What's Wiseman's money look like next year if we pick up
Next
his
year is
option?
12 million, and then the year after that he's got a qualifying offer for 15. But that's when he would become like a free agent.
Unrestricted, yeah. I mean, I guess I'd pick him up and I'd try to move Bagley over the summer.
If we picked everybody up, it's $72 million total, and that still leaves you $60 million to
Yeah,
do something with. So
there's money to be sent out here. We're not in a
picking
shortage.
up everybody wouldn't hurt.
Which means it can be a lot of money for the rest of the free agent signings, guys who are not already under contract or have some affiliation with our team. I came in with a few guys that I've targeted here, but I want to hear from you first. Connie, your biggest free agent targets for this offseason for the Detroit Pistons.
Oh yeah, I got several. At the guard position, Seth Curry.
I also have him.
Really just beautiful movement shooter. Could really play on any team. Is exactly what I'd want on this team as a spacer, as a guy to put in with like really any roster that we've got going, and like sort of increase the fluidity of it, increase how it works. Coming off an patellar tendon tear, Victor Oladipo.
Oh man.
Little redemption year, get him on the minimum. He could be fighting for it. And then the last guard I wanted, which y'all might not agree with because he does not play offense, is Matisse Thybulle. I know Gabe doesn't like Thybulle. I know y'all underrate him don't like him as a defender, but he could just sort of cause havoc a little bit. I don't think he might not be the right fit for this team. We'd need to get some other shooters to make that one make sense. But just as a guy who could bring some defense, I'd like it. And then I had no centers because we have enough centers. I don't want another center on this roster. But in the forward position, Harrison Barnes, which we talked a little bit about who would you rather have, Jeremy Grant or Harrison Barnes. I think I'm choosing Harrison Barnes. He fits better within a team. I think he's also just better than Jeremy Grant. And
So
then
you'd want him starting, I assume?
uh
Because I mean we have Bogdanovic.
yeah. Guess that would depend on the draft, no?
Yeah.
Well, is this your
But
ideal
yeah, no, I'd want
offseason?
him starting. I'd want to go Cade, Ivy, Barnes, Bogdanovic, and Wembanyama. And then last guy, as a guy that could fill in either the forward or the center spot when he's needed, a super high IQ guy who has really just kind of fit in everywhere he goes, and that is Dario Saric. Love me some Dario Saric.
That's a
Not a
nice,
bad
that's a nice
call.
outside shout. Victor Oladipo, is he going to be playing this upcoming season?
Word on the street was that he should be ready for next season.
Okay, you throw out some answer names there. Gabe, any other guys to add on to that list?
Yeah, I do. And much like Connie, there's no like big fish to catch this year. So I'm gonna throw a big name out later, but in a trade that I'd like to see over the summer. So same with Connie. I'm targeting kind of cheap guys, 3-point shooters. Max Strus is on my list. Seth Curry I had. Torrey Craig, I think just a perfect 3-and-D. He's a playoff player. He doesn't have to start, but he can. Yuta Watanabe in the same kind of role. Kevin Love, smart guy, cheap. He's a shooter. He's a vet. He's just a good player to have on your team. And that's pretty much it. I would not like Harrison Barnes. Just like I think I mean, if we do get Wemby, I think a Wemby Duran or a Wemby Stu lineup is better than anything that Harrison Barnes can contribute.
I'm actually pretty open to Harrison Barnes, especially in my ideal offseason, we move off of Bojan Bogdanovic, already lacking wings. I think bringing in a guy who has championship pedigree and just plays
Bogey's
solid.
better than Barnes.
Yeah, perhaps. But he also definitely not in the defensive end. Harrison Barnes has shown to be able to just fit in anywhere, played with superstars, young superstars in Golden State, fit his role there, doing the same thing, kind of a similar role with the Sacramento Kings now. I had some similar names, but I have a few guys that I want to say that you guys didn't mention. I'm kind of surprised Austin Reeves didn't get a mention. And especially if, like Connie, you mentioned earlier, if we move off of Killian Hayes this summer, there's a hole in the backup point guard spot. It most likely wouldn't be Corey Joseph, especially if we try to make that leap to be competitive.
Reeves
And
is
if we attempt to make that leap, I think Austin Reeves is the perfect guy, a perfect third guard to have. He's got good size, obviously has experience playing with superstars, so he knows how to play with the ball not in his hand. When Cade will have it, when Ivy will have it. And then I picked two kind of like 4 or 5 guys because again, I don't think we need that much size, but I would be open to a 4, especially if it was Grant Williams because he's just such a threat from outside the arc. I think he'd be kind of fitting in that Isaiah Stewart role. And again, not too much money. Same with this guy who is restricted, but PJ Washington, I think he's had a really good year out in Charlotte, expanded his game quite a bit. He could fill in well. And then just one final guy. Yes, he was on this team last season, but Rodney Magruder is an unrestricted free agent. I would welcome Rodney back with open arms to this team. I
For
still think he's
sure.
got nice stuff to provide on the end of that bench.
For sure. Can I add one more guy? And this is situational, so
Yeah.
not guaranteed that it'll happen. But if Jaylen Brown misses All NBA, it makes no fiscal sense for him to extend with the Boston Celtics, making him an unrestricted free agent in this summer. If we could get our hands on some Jaylen Brown,
I'm
that
throwing
would be
everything at Jalen Brown.
sweet. That would
That's exactly who my player was that I was going to trade for because I think he will make All NBA, extend, and then Celtics. I don't know. We saw what happened yesterday against the Hawks.
they might get
I
bounced.
don't. Yeah, I don't think they're going to win the championship. So maybe like Dame to Boston, Brown to us, and a bunch of picks, Bogey, Wiseman to Portland, kind of. But either way, so yeah, that it could. If we can move on, kind of, unless you have another person, that kind of leads into my dream lineup for next year.
Yeah, I'm very happy to transition to that. All yours.
Yeah. So absolute dream lineup is Cade, Ivy, Jaylen Brown, Wemby, and Duran, with Killian Burks, Max Struess, Livers, and Stu off the bench. I just think there's so much flexibility. You can go a defensive lineup with Brown at the 2, move Stu into the lineup, a 3-point with Struess and Wemby at the 5 out with Struess, Brown, Wemby as like the front court. There's just a lot of. It would be a very modern team. Obviously, a lot of stars, shooting, defense, ball movement, wingspan, everything. We'd be a legit like top 4 seed, I think, with that lineup.
I would
Yeah.
love that. I mean, bringing in a guy like Jalen Brown would be really big for the city of Detroit. Having just not have much power in free agency. Obviously, the last big guy we pulled in was Blake Griffin, and that didn't do too well for us.
Uh,
Um,
Real quick on
yeah,
contract, we forgot a part of contracts, unless you were about to get to it,
no,
which
go
is
ahead.
contract extensions. We got 2 guys on this team right now that are eligible for those rookie extensions this coming summer, and that is Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart. What are we thinking?
I'm very comfortable giving Isaiah Stewart that extension right now. I have no doubt that he's here for the long-term future. Which I'll quickly just get into my ideal starting 5, and I'll touch right back to what you're on here, Connie. So Cade and Ivy, clearly the backcourt for me. But I have a little twist in mind because obviously Victor Wembanyama is in there, so he's gonna be my 3. and then I'm rocking with Stu, and I'm rocking with Jalen Duren. So a huge lineup that I think defensively would just excel, which would instantly make us, competitive on a nightly basis. And then off
It's
the bench, what's up?
It's a realistic lineup.
Yeah,
If we do
and
get number one, yeah.
that's what's so exciting about it. And then the backup, I went with Killian, Alec Burks, and then Harrison Barnes with Isaiah Livers as the wings. And then why not keep James Wiseman floating around here? But touching back on Killian Hayes, I definitely would not give him that extension this summer. We tried to do that this off season before this one, try to maybe ignite a fire in him, get him going, because we did pick up his team option way before we needed to, whenever that date was on his last contract pickup. But this one, he needs to prove something for sure. I would definitely lean towards, it's probably like 60-40, 60%. I would say he will eventually get that. For me, I do think the front office uses him a bit differently than our fans. But Stu, yeah, give it to him right now if you want. I'm comfortable giving him a lot of money. Killian, he's got to prove more to me.
Yeah, I'm in the same agreement. If Killian becomes an unrestricted free agent in the end of next year, no team is gonna throw any money at him. We can, throw a contract too if we want to keep him around. Stu, I'd love to keep like a 4 for 70, something like that. Kind of the most. 4 for 80 even. He's gonna be a great player.
Yeah.
Connor, your ideal starting 5 for next season, taking those factors into consideration.
Oh man, ideal starting lineup is ideal starting lineup is we go a little crazy with it. I should have thought about this more. Cade, okay, if it's the lame one, it's Cade, Ivy, Bogey, Duren, Wemby, backup, whatever point guard, because we don't have a point guard right now. Or Hayes, Burks, forward, Wiseman, Livers. But if we do trade Bogey in some way, my ideal starting lineup, and this depends on how actually good at basketball Wembanyama is. But what about a Cade, Ivy, Stewart, Duren, Wembanyama starting lineup?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
You said, my bad. I was looking at market values. Sorry.
No, I think
that's the most exciting lineup for me, just because I'm wondering how teams would beat us with so much rim protection, so much flexibility in the defensive end.
They'd outscore us.
It would really come down to how well the Pistons could shoot the ball. Because Stu is he's getting better, but he's not quite reliable. Duren is a non-shooter. Wemby, we just don't know. Ivy is not a great shooter. Cade is not a great shooter. So I guess how they would beat us is just by packing the paint. So we'll see.
We'll see. Anything else you guys want to touch on for our ideal off season for the Detroit Pistons this summer? All right, then, much awaited segment. Gabe, the floor is all yours. Tell the fans what you got here for us.
All right, so watching the Knicks destroy the Cavs and the Nuggets destroy the Timberwolves kind of highlighted 2 players for me, and off of that, I decided to make my all NBA cupcake team. Connie, I hope this isn't too personal for you.
Yeah.
So obviously the captain has to be Karl Anthony Towns. Extremely soft, doesn't play defense. Got shut down by Aaron Gordon, who's 3-4 inches smaller than him. He's the captain, and obviously there's going to be a lot of bigs because they're usually the ones that stand out if they can't rebound or play defense. Coming in next to him, DeAndre Ayton. Just waiting for him to get matched up against the big, and the Suns will lose the next series, I think. And then Pistons legend James Wiseman. He's just soft. I think Mike would agree with me on that one. And then in that Cavs series, I'm going to go with Evan Mobley. being
Oh,
absolutely
man,
dogged
come
by any
on.
big man. Evan Mobley doesn't rebound. He
Dude.
can't hold his ground defensively.
He's 21 years old. This is his first playoff experience.
He's also 7'1".
He's also lanky as shit, man. Like he's all right. Keep that Mobley energy. You're gonna see in 5 years. This man. Okay.
All right, in 5 years, yeah, sure, maybe, but for the next like few years, like he's just not he doesn't have the dog. And then my one guard, just because I couldn't think of a fifth player, is Bradley Beal. I've never seen him play defense, never seen him take a charge or grind really. He's just a good scorer, which for me doesn't exclude you from the cupcake category. Do you have any guys you'd like to throw in there?
Yeah. Along this, you just made me think of this guy because you said Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
Who somehow maintains that he thinks he's a good defender. Funny. And then controversial pick, Dylan Brooks.
Oh yeah.
Man, talking a lot of smack, but these last two losses against the Lakers refuses to talk to the media. I'm sorry, man. If you talk stuff when you're up and you're running away from the media when you're down, that's cupcake material right there.
Yeah.
I'll say it to his face, man. He could pull up.
I don't have anyone to add. The only guy I can disagree with you on is Evan Mobley, but the other guys, it's hard to make a case for any of them.
I also disagree on Evan Mobley.
It's just like watching Josh Hart grab rebound after rebound over him. Julius Randle moving him like he's nothing.
He's just skinny.
Anyways, Buffs on fans, tell us what you think about Gabe's all first team cupcake list. Let us know if you think anybody else deserves to be in there. Maybe a Jalen Green or something.
D'Angelo Russell, maybe.
We want to hit a quick tankathon spin for you guys because the draft is around the corner.
Ben Simmons.
What's up? Oh, we missed
Ben Simmons.
He didn't play enough games to hit the
He's underbaked
for the cupcake team. If you're too soft to play, does that help you or hurt you for the cupcake team?
Got to look at the rule book for that one. I'm not entirely sure. But we talked just a little bit about a little playoff basketball, and I just want to, see if you guys have any early takeaways from this first round, any hot takes you see coming out, because I have one that I was bugging to get out here, and it's about the New York Knicks.
Go ahead.
They look unstoppable at the moment, and when I'm looking at their potential next round matchup, it's the Milwaukee Bucks, who are currently trailing to the shorthanded Miami Heat, 3 games.
Looking well like it's the Heat, yeah.
So in this world where Miami moves on, they still don't have Tyler Hero. He's out with that broken finger. Butler slows down a little bit. I see the Knicks not just closing out the Cavs, moving on to the next round, and in fact winning that next round and going to the conference finals, where at that point anything's possible. Like Milwaukee's not there, maybe. Philly is I don't know, a lot of question marks about Philly and Embiid's health. Boston only up 3-2 right now, a lot of question marks about them. And then we look here to the West. I can't thoroughly say any team is that much better than the New York Knicks in the West. Call me crazy. My incredibly hot take is the Knicks are going to be the next NBA champion.
All right. Yeah, I could see him winning the East. Boston has not looked that convincing. Milwaukee might lose in the first round. But I have a hard time seeing this Knicks team beating like the Suns or something in the final.
Or the Nuggets, yeah.
But if they get there, anything's possible.
It's sort of less like that, though. It's a 7-game series. But I like that take.
I could definitely see them moving on to the conference finals. And then, like you said, anything can happen. Embiid gets hurt again. Celtics can continue to shoot bad from 3 because that's all they do now. Yeah, it could happen.
I mean, yeah, Boston and Philly are going to beat each other out. He's got to be one of those two guys. Yeah, they're tough. They're a tougher team than Boston right now, for sure. Like just from a mentality standpoint.
What about the Nuggets Suns series coming up? Honestly, yeah.
I am a little skeptical on Denver, having watched him in the first round. Murray looks great. role players are role playing, but I don't know, like they struggled really to get over the hump against Minnesota. Minnesota really gave them a run for their money,
I
and
mean, they won in 5.
it put enough doubt in my
It
mind,
was a
though.
tough 5. It was like those last couple games were pretty tough.
Yeah, it put enough doubt in my mind to say I think Phoenix wins that, and I'll say 6 games.
Like they have issues with bucket getters. Like they were having issues with Anthony Edwards and a little bit with Cat even in their last game. Like if they got to try to like how are they guarding Kevin Durant?
Aaron Gordon, probably the best guy left in the
Yeah,
playoffs
what
to
if they
guard him.
bring Jokic into a screening action and then it's like, oh, all right. Like NBA defense is not one on one. Like you put AG on one guy, but they're gonna screen until something happens. And at some point you're gonna find a mismatch. At some point Jokic is gonna either come up too high or drop or they
I
just
don't
got
know. I just think
buckets.
like
And
Bruce
Depot
Brown,
is
KCP are
incredible.
pretty perfect defenders for Book.
They're too small.
They might be a little small. Aaron Gordon on Book would be great as well, but then yeah, you have no one for KD. I just think there's going to be an injury, either Chris Paul or KD. So I don't know. I'll go Nuggets just because I still think Jokic is the best player in the series. But
Fair
that's going
enough.
to be so much fun to watch.
Yeah, this is the when it really starts picking up. Anything else you guys want to touch on from what we've seen in the very short amount of playoff basketball?
I was right about Ja being the third best player in the series.
You were wrong about that. Ja is so clearly the second best player. How is Anthony Davis better than Ja Morant?
Davis has been the best player, I think, of the series. He's
Did you watch
completely
the
unstoppable
game yesterday?
defensive. How many blocks does he have so far this series?
I think
25.
He had 13 points last night on. Oh no, sorry, that wasn't last night.
Yeah,
He had 13 points on 4 for 14 shooting. Last night he had 12 points on 4 for 13 shooting. Like he's blocking shots, but he's just like completely useless on offense some of these nights. And Ja Morant
he's also
had
going
22
against
straight in the
Tillman.
fourth quarter.
And Jaren Jackson Jr.
And Jaren Jackson Jr. But I mean, for me, the defense between like JJJ and Davis is pretty like there's a gap. Davis
I
like
disagree.
kind of destroys him in every single possession. JJJ is just like he's too young. I don't know. I just think if it comes down to it, I'd rather have LeBron or Davis.
Well, I'd rather have LeBron. Yeah, I'd rather have LeBron. But,
LeBron literally was sleepwalking these first games, and he's putting up these stats.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying that it's LeBron, Morant, Davis for this series.
I second what Connie says right there. Anyways, we'll see as that series closes out with the Lakers up 3-1. But that's all we have for our off-season preview here from the Buffs on pod. But we do want to hit you with a tankathon spin, and we'll quickly say who would we take at this position because we're only 20 days away from finding out where we be picking in this upcoming draft. It's sooner than you think, guys. It's coming right up. So our lottery spin has us picking at 5. Top of your head, Pistons are picking 5. What are you guys doing? Who are you taking?
Pick's getting traded.
Second it. I'm trading it.
Yeah, same. But if we choose, once again, 4 or 5, I'd go Taylor Hendricks. He's going to be a player.
I have no real opinion. I'd be too deflated if we pick at number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could honestly be whoever. I'd be pretty upset.
Well, thank you guys for listening. If you're still listening at this point, really appreciate it. Drop us a follow, leave us a review. Let us know what you think about the pod. Really appreciate you guys listening to yet another episode. So for now, throw the Buffs on Detroit. The future is bright.